Our next speaker is Mr. Michael Chian, Chairman of Bead World Malaysia, an EdTech ecosystem. He is enthusiastic about creating a new world where good education is available for the masses through technology. Michael, the stage is yours.
Thank you. So, hi, my name is Michael. Instead of starting to give you an answer of what technology. Hello?
Sorry. Yes, may we request you to full screen the presentation, please?
Okay, full screen. There we go.
Okay.
Right, so rather than to start to explain what EdTech should be and what AI should be, I think we should go back to fundamentals. Just a little bit to see, it's quite obvious. EdTech is education and technology. Education equals pedagogy, which is basically how to teach. You can break it down to early years teaching. You can break it down into, pedagogy, which is K-12, or you can talk about andragogy, which is for adults. If you don't have any of this in the technology, or it's not based around these pedagogy, then there is no such thing as EdTech. So before I go any further, I'm going to talk about a little story that I can tell you about my life journey to lead me where I am, which may possibly give you some insights. When I started, I was actually a teacher, classroom teacher, and then eventually I became a principal of a network of IB International Baccalaureate schools. Eventually, I was tasked to look at systems to actually help the learning. I was extremely frustrated. A lot of the systems that were out there was pretty much display devices. In the old days, we had chalks, my day. We had the chalkboard. Then we had the overhead projector. Then we had the whiteboard. And now we have PowerPoint, which you're looking at now. But the question here is, how is that really part of the pedagogy? How are we using the tools? Are we using tools for the sake of using tools? Or are we using tools to enhance the learning? Just to give you an insight as well, even in our international school in Malaysia, we had an issue, infrastructure, internet. Just a little bit for you to have a look at. This was in 2023. In America, first world country, only 25% of students actually had broadband internet. That kind of tells you what it is like in the rest of the world. So the technology that we must have, we see that, yes, it's all always in the cloud, online, but how does it happen in the classroom? Should technology be only in the virtuality in 3D space? Should technology cost $1 million that is not, affordable by the masses? That was one of the very big questions for us as well. And we had looked at a few studies as well. We wanted to understand what was most important in a technology, whether it's AI or not at all. We realized that most of it is about engagement of online activities. Engagement actually covers things like communication, collaboration, all the things that you would actually expect in pedagogy. So that brings me to this. This is the pedagogical wheel. This is something that I actually used to scare my teachers when I was in the school, because there are tons of applications out there, and tons of LMSs out there, and tons of systems out there. What on earth are you supposed to do with all of this? Well, the question really is, what are you trying to achieve? In every single society, whether it's the Japanese society, or whether it's the Finnish society, or it's the Malaysian society, we have different contexts and different use cases. So a system that we use, or any applications that we use, need to be in line with our environment, our infrastructure, our cultural expectations. So in Malaysia, we are fairly traditional in the sense of a lot of things. So if you ask the children to do a lot of high level thinking on their own and going out there, being responsible in the city where it's not very safe, it will not work. But in Finland, yes, it would work. That is pretty much the same thing as you would look in technology. Just because it's a popular technology does not mean that it applies and it's good for you. So when we developed something, we needed to make sure that our system was flexible to every single curricula in the world, to be able to deliver not just lesson ideas, but actual lesson plans, microbyte lesson plans. Things that actually attach and engage individual students, things that allow stages, things that go into international standards, things like, inquiry-based learning by Kathy Murdoch, things like concept-based curricula by Lynn Erickson. And then we use from those pedagogy, decide, okay, which are the single applications that we would then use into our system. So it's rather not saying, I want to buy a tool and then I'll have to use the tool. It should be, what do I want? Then I'll get the tools for it. That is how applications and technology should be used. You should look at your use case and ensure that any technology that you use applies to you. So I'm going to bring it back to this. Before COVID happened, and when we had our system, I actually applied it to one school. It's called Fairview International School. And before that, I insisted, I said to them, look, stop creating lesson plans. Stop deciding to use all sorts of interesting, fun things, that gadgets or what I call gimmicks to attract children. From gamifications to flashies to online games. My question is, let's go back to basics. What do you want? What do you normally do, and what gets your children excited in the morning? How do you apply them? How is it real in that learning? And then find the applications that will do that, take it further, and find things that you would use the applications that would never allow you to do it before. Let me give you an example. There was a situation that the children needed to understand art, an art form. It's called, Shapes art form. It started in Greece. We got them a virtual tour. We got in contact with a tour guide in Greece to see the temples, see the art. We added it to the lessons during classroom time for mathematics. We then used virtuality to contact a person in Syria, we at the time in the Blue Mosque, which the children could definitely not fly to the Blue Mosque, to see actually how the Islam actually incorporated these images as well, how it was replicated again in Egypt. See, this is how we talk about redefining education. They're all basically the same thing. There is a Zoom into it, there's video conferencing, but there are our platform, which is actually lesson implementation, questions, interactions, and really bringing that classroom to life. Never underestimate. Most people see the word substitution and think, oh, that's a bad word. No, it's not a bad word. It just means that we should have all four platforms, from substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. Redefinition comes very, occasional. But this model doesn't mean that that substitution is right at the bottom, that we should never even look at it. It just means that there are more things that you could do as substitution and less things that will be redefinition, but we should ensure and understand what we're actually using the technology for. Because of our platform and the way that we've implemented it, talking about ensuring that our system was low resource required, ensuring that it is not internet intensive or not online all the time, pedagogically based. They managed, even during the COVID period, become top IB global schools for those years consecutively. How? It's pedagogy. It's all about teaching, which is one of the many reasons why when teachers ask me the question, is AI going to take our jobs? I said, well, if you're going to act like a robot, yes, it will take your job because this robot works better. But if you're going to be a teacher, a real teacher is innovative. A real teacher adapts. A real teacher actually understands personalization and really goes into what is the student requiring in that cultural society, in that dimension. And every single situation is different. So don't try and put it into a box. It will never work, because this is the wonder of human diversity. This is Fred, which I'm exposing to you, which is coming out in 2024 for us. Fred for us is facial recognition, AI-assisted, differentiated learning. Because our system is actually a lesson, not a lesson plan, it's a lesson delivery. It actually allows a student that learning journey to be able to do whatever they want, and the system responds to it. What is a student response? It uses Paul Ekman's micro-expression to look at its face. So when it goes down to a target point, students reading it, oh, he doesn't get it. Does he not get it because it's linguistically challenged, that they don't understand it? Is it because it's too easy? Is it because it's too hard? The system would then change accordingly to the AI system. That is what it does. Then it actually takes into account what you're supposed to be learning. What are the social implications of it as well? And of course, what are the pedagogical outcomes that you're generally using in class? So it'd be able to give you the right responses for the student to get that personalized learning. But everything that I've said so far, you would realize that, hey, it feeds off what you already know. It feeds off what you should be doing for your children already. So what is then for a teacher? Well, we believe that AI and technology is here not to replace teachers, but to bring teachers back to their original purpose. And the purpose is to teach the individualistic. When we have 25 students in a classroom, or even some situations, 50 in a classroom, or 100 in a classroom, that's the industrialized era of education. Bring it back to that personalized learning, where the teachers teach, the teachers come out with discussions, the teachers actually bring out the individualized student. That's why in our service, we don't just have a flexible learning delivery system, which is a low resource delivery service, even without the internet and even with low level mobile devices. We're talking about the ability to adapt in every single educational content. It is also about being scalable, because we believe, I like to use the word the cheap, but my sales manager hates me to use that word. We use the word affordable. But we want to bring education to everybody, because I believe education is an absolute right. We believe in using an AI, but pedagogically based. And not only that we just deliver a software platform for you, we're here to actually help you through it by having curricular consultancy. And not only that, to top it off, we believe that education is not confined in four walls. It's out there. And that's why we also have we are also an educational tourism specialist. thank you very much for your time. And this is where we are. And if you'd like to contact us, please do so. My name is Michael Chen. It's been a pleasure.